Welcome back to the arcade, and yes, we're still working on the Sharp XM-1801N monitor, which is commonly found in a red tint, but this one happened to be in my Donkey Kong Jr. cocktail. So, what are we up to now, since we found that the horizontal windings in the yoke were bad because of what I think and pretty good evidence in the last video of corrosion, which I think is probably from the glue that they put in to glue it down to the yoke housing. But anyway, that's all behind us now. What I need to do is get this monitor running. So it's pretty hard to try to wind one of these coils to go in here. I don't know if it's impossible, and I still might try it someday if I need to. Might be sooner than later, I don't know. But in the meantime, a local friend, arcade collector, and club member, Killer List of Video, he sent me a couple yokes in the mail, and they were both off of monitors that had broken necks and that he had rescued, I think, from a horde of games that had been in a flood, and everything got disintegrated, and the cabinets, and they saved what they could. But anyway, here's one of them, and as you can see, the housing is all broken up. Now, this has K, I can't really read what that is. It's got a K on it, so I'm pretty sure this is a Wells Gardner. It does have 7600 right here, so this might be from a 7600. But it's a shame that the yoke is, the housing is busted, because the yoke windings ohm out to what I'm looking for. But also it looks a little small, so this may be off of a 13-inch monitor. I don't know. I don't have any. I've never worked on a 19-inch or 13-inch K7000 monitor, so I'm not sure about that. The other one he sent me is in pretty good shape. A little rusty on the metal parts, but nothing terrible. The rest of it looks pretty good. But this one too looks a little small, and it is for a small neck monitor, which is what I need. But if I put it down here and I take the original yoke form that was from the original monitor, and if I put it on a table, it's actually I'd say about a ½ inch shorter. Now, is that going to make a difference? I don't know. It depends on if the coil is shorter or if just the housing is shorter. And then how will that affect the rings that goes on the tube? Now, they didn't come with any convergence rings, but I still have the rings that came off the original tube here. So I'm kind of wondering, you know, how this might work if I give it a try. And I already cut the yoke connectors off. I don't think this yoke, I know it's not a Wells Gardner because I cut the connectors off, and here's the connectors. This is the red and blue, which was on the horizontal, and this right here is the green and yellow, real small, tiny connector. So I don't know if this came off of a television set or some other type of monitor, but I've never seen an arcade monitor with those type of connectors. But maybe some of you have. Maybe you can identify what this is. But anyway, I cut them off because I can't use them that way, and I went ahead and tinned the wires, and I've already checked this, and we're going to check it and show what the readings are. So let me zoom in a little bit here. All right. First, we'll try the green and the yellow wires here. And that should be the vertical. Okay. And we're getting 14.2 ohms, which is right in the ballpark. I think the original vertical windings was 14.4. And according to documentation I've found, it's actually supposed to be 15 ohms. Okay, so anyway, well, now it's rating, yeah, 14.2. So that should be close enough to give it a try anyway. All right, now let's try the red and the blue windings, which is the horizontal, which is what was bad on mine. And we're getting 2.1 ohms. According to the official specifications, it should be 2 ohms, so 2.1 should work fine. The other thing that I checked, back up here a little bit, was with the original yoke here. And if you put this on here like this, it's actually the same diameter at the bottom of the coil. So that's a good sign. Now, whether these coils here are a little bit shorter because the whole yoke is shorter, or whether the housing is just a little different, I don't know. But I'm going to give it a try and see what happens. So let me go ahead and, oh, one more thing. The original yoke, and I plugged it back into the monitor here. I've already reassembled the monitor partially so that I can put the yoke on and fire it up and see if it works. The original yoke wires here had a resistor across the yellow and green wires, which is the vertical. And it was covered in a old piece of heat shrink or plastic tubing. And I couldn't see, I knew it was a resistor, but I couldn't see, you know, what the value was of the resistor. So I went ahead and I cut this off, and the resistor was broken. Now I don't know if it broke while I was trying to get that cover off. So I went ahead and clipped it off of the yoke connector here. And so I'm not sure what this resistor does. And I looked at it real close, and the color code on it, I'm sure it's blue-gray, but then the third color, pretty sure it's violet. So if that's the case, blue, gray, violet is 680 megohms. But I went ahead and tried to read the resistance on this, even though it's broke off. I put the ohm meter on the good end and then just touched the end because it broke off right at the end. And you can look at the Probably can't see it, but at the end, the metal that makes contact with the leg of the resistor, it's all green, so it's corroded. So I'm thinking it was already broke. But anyway, I tried to get a reading of what was left, and I only come up with something like somewhere in the 6.2 k ohm reading, somewhere in that area. Nowhere near what the color code says it is. But if you, instead of violet, if that's blue, gray, red, that's 6.8 K. So that could be close. So now I don't know what this resistor is. If anybody knows what the value of this is and what the function of this is, I'd like to know. It goes across the yoke windings. I did a little research, and I believe I found a couple of things saying something about, oh gosh, what did they call it? I can't think what they called it now, but anyway, I know all monitors don't have them, and some do, so I don't know. This one had it, so does it need it? Would I damage anything if I try to fire this up without it? I don't know. But I'm going to give it a try. So let me go ahead and set up. I'll be right back, and we'll see if we can't put this yoke on. Okay, well, I had to put a piece of tape up here to kind of hold this neck board out the way. Now, how does it go on? It's totally different yoke than the original, so I don't really know exactly. Only thing I do know is the position of the horizontal coils here, and so I'm pretty sure the horizontal coils go on the top and bottom, and the vertical goes on the sides. So, well, no, they're both on the same, it looks like. Well, I do know that where the magnetic wires hooked to the board here was facing down towards the board, even though this one here, the wires are hooked to it and they run out the other side, which is different. So I'm going to go and put it the same way. It's not going to hurt anything. It's just it'll be 90 degrees off or 180 degrees off or whatever. So let's see how it fits here. Now the original wedges are still in place. I didn't mess with them. So I'm hoping that since this has the same circumference and basically the bottom of the coil is the same as this, I'm hoping that it'll sit down in the same place. It's just going to be a little bit shorter on the tube. So yeah, you can definitely see the difference here. Where the original one, see where the tape is dirty right there? And this one sits down much lower. But I'm going to try it there because we can always, you know, loosen this up, or I'm going to leave it loose anyway. I'm going to tighten it a little bit, but I'm going to leave it loose so that we can move it around like we need to. That's pretty good right there. Maybe just a little bit more. And that seems to be down on the original wedges. So we'll see how that works out. Now, this is the other thing, the yoke rings. You spin this around to the other side here. I mean, convergence rings. looking for witness marks. I think I see witness marks where they were. And I believe they were right there. I hope that's right, because that's going to be kind of crucial. But I think that's where they were. Now, I've never done a tube swap, so I'm kind of new at this. I have converged a monitor before, but I've never actually done a tube swap and changed a yoke on one, so this is new territory for me. Okay. But you got to learn sometime, right? And then, of course, we don't know if this yoke will even work with this. So, all right. Let me go ahead and put the neck board back on. Okay. Now, what I'm going to do, just until I see if it works, like I say, I already plugged in the original yoke plug because it's way down in the monitor behind the high voltage transformer between that and the heat sink for the hot. And it's very difficult to get in there, so I actually put it in before I mounted the board back to the chassis, or back to the tube. Okay, so now all we have to do is match up these wires, because the color code is the same, because I took the ohm readings. So this should be not too bad here. Let me see if I can clamp this so it'll hold it. And let me see if I can solder these on here. Okay, that's the red one. These wires are stiff and they're getting in the way. That's the blue one. Maybe not enough solder on it. Okay. Dang it. I'm going to have to get in your way here a little bit. It's not cooperating with me here. Okay. Now I got the yellow one. And last but not least, the green. Okay, they're all connected. Now, just to keep these from shorting out on anything, some more clear packing tape. Great stuff. Okay. All right, now I'm going to flip the monitor around, get this soldering iron out the way, and get it set up to fire up. So, be back in a sec. All right, well, I got it all set up here. I got my isolation transformer. This is a B&K Precision IsoPack TR-110. I got this quite a few years ago from Chad at Arcade Cup. You might, some of you know that he repairs monitor chassis, and he's been in business for quite a while, and from time to time he has stuff like this come up, and he gets on the killer list of video games and offers them up for sale, and I was lucky enough to buy one. What this is, it has a direct set of sockets here. You don't want to use them for the monitor. This would be, you could plug test equipment or whatever into that, I guess, but they're not isolated. That's just a direct wall socket addition. These are the ones that are isolated, and it has an on-off power switch, a power light, and here's the little chart where you can set it up for 110, 125, 140, 100 volts, 115, 130, 90, 105, or 120. So depending on, these are 3 position switches here. So I got it in the middle right now, so this is for the middle lot, and then I got it all the way over this way, so that is 100 volts. So that means when you got it in this position, we're getting 100 volts out of here. So that's the power for the monitor. Okay, one last check. Make sure this is out the way and not hitting on anything. I guess that'll be all right there. All right, well, okay, I also got my TPG Crafty Mech test pattern generator. That's what TPG stands for. And got a little chart on here where you set it up for whatever monitor you're working on. I got it set up for the Nintendo, so it's set up for the reversed colors. All right, so let me turn that on, and let's fire the monitor up and hope we don't see no flames. Okay, here, high voltage. All right. Ah, look at that, we got a picture. Yoke's a little crooked, but it looks like it's filling up the screen pretty good. Now, I got the yoke wires backwards because this is backwards right here. All right, let me set you up on a tripod, and then I'll see if I can straighten up the yoke, and then we'll worry about reversing those wires. So hang tight. Okay, well, I apologize for the not having a straight on picture, but I'm kind of got a space problem in here at the moment, and you need a little bit of focal length for the camera, so that's the best I can do. All right. I really should put on a pair of gloves to do this, but I'm going to be careful and try not to touch anything that's going to zap me. And let me see if I can straighten this up here. That looks pretty good right there. All right, let me run it through some of the patterns real quick. Checkerboard. Okay, it actually don't look too bad, but the only question I got is, I've never used a test pattern generator on one of these monitors. I'm wondering about these white bars on the side of the tube here. It's white, so it's got to be getting deflection, because if it wasn't filling up the whole screen, there wouldn't be nothing there. It would just be black, wouldn't it? Or is this probably because of the yoke? It's not coming all the way out because of the yoke. It does look like it's got a little bow in it there. I wonder if that could be because of the not having that resistor on there. I'm going to have to order that resistor, and not knowing the exact value, I'll probably order a couple different ones in case if it's a 6.8 K, I'll order one of them. I can try it, and then I can order a 680 meg one and try that too. So I don't know. And I'd be darned if the convergence don't look pretty doggone good too. It's not perfect, but just from guessing, going by the dirt and the witness marks on the tube, I'd say that's pretty doggone good. Still got those bars on the side though. I'm still wondering about that. If anybody knows, if anybody has ever used like a K7000 yoke on one of these monitors, did it fill up the whole screen? Or did you have bars on the side like this? I talked to somebody that said they did it and they thought they had bars at the top and bottom. But maybe they had their monitor like on a Donkey Kong and was in a vertical position. So that would, if this was like in a Donkey Kong and vertical, then this would be considered the top and bottom. But since it's horizontal right here, then of course this is on the sides. So that's what gets people confused about a monitor being vertical and horizontal, and what is vertical and what is horizontal. So anyway, I guess that's a possibility, but I can live with that. If the game board, if the picture on the game board, I'm wondering though, would it be white, or could it be black or another color? Well, even on a checkerboard, because the checkerboard is white, you got white there. Yeah, I guess it would be white. Now I wonder if I adjusted the width coil, would that bring it out anymore? Could I stretch it out with the width coil? Also, I don't know if you can pick this up on the camera or not. Can you see the burn-in on the monitor? I'm wondering what that burn-in is from. I don't know if the cameras can pick it up or not. Let me go through a couple screens here. Maybe I can find one that picks it up better. No. But it kind of looks like a boxing game to me. I'm wondering if this is something like, I wouldn't think it's Mike Tyson's Punch-Out, but wasn't there one called Ring King or King of the Fighters or something like that? I think it was an aftermarket Nintendo game. You know, because you can definitely see what looks like boxing rings right here, and then you got hit and hit. Like I got like two scores, like two boxers, you know, and then you got 3 sets of numbers here and 3 sets of numbers over here. So, you know, if this was in a red tint, it would probably be a red tint game. Trying to figure out if this monitor came out of a red tint at one time in its life, or if it was always in a Donkey Kong Jr. You would think it was in the Donkey Kong Jr. and it had the Donkey Kong board, which had been converted to 8-ball action, that it would have either Donkey Kong Jr. burn-in, which it may have some, I don't know, or it would have 8-ball action burn-in. But anyway. All right, well, I'm going to call this a success because it's better than nothing. I mean, at least the monitor is up and working. May not be perfect, but beggars can't be choosy. So, Rob, I appreciate you sending me this yoke. It's definitely going to work for the time being. Now, I still would like to get the original yoke if it'll give me my full picture back. But like I say, I've never had this test pattern generator on this monitor before because this monitor has been in storage for the last 15 years. And yeah, well, the picture don't look that bad. I'm sure it could probably use caps since I know it's been 20 years. The caps have been in it, and they could even be the original caps. May never have been taken out. So I have a deluxe cap kit for it. But I decided not to put it in at this time because I just wanted to try this yoke out and try to get it working before I went and pulled it back apart and put a cap kit in it and possibly cause some other issue. And I wanted to see if the monitor would work. If it was the yoke causing the problem. And it was a bad yoke because I haven't replaced anything else in the monitor. The yoke is the only thing that I've changed. So, okay, I got to do it. I'm going to try it. I'm going to try moving this thing back. All right, that's as far back as it'll go as hitting the convergent rings. And it's got the purity off a little bit because I can see blue in the white here and yellow in the white there, so that's not going to work. I'll have to put it back like I had it. Okay, I just wanted to try that. Another thing too, if I can get alignment tool down in there, I could try the width coil, but I'm not going to push my luck right now. Okay, that's it. Bye. Okay, well, I'm going to throw this somewhere in the mix. This is after I'd already signed off, but I'm going to throw it in here. I couldn't leave well enough alone, so I tried adjusting the yoke a little more, moving it forward, back, and around, and I got it pretty well centered as best as it's going to get. And turned it up on its side because the horizontal width coil, it has a hole in the bottom here where you can stick your tool in, and you can get it in the top, but then you can't get your hand in there, and with that high voltage right there, I'm not going to try to stick my hand in there. So I turn it on its side, and of course I got the bottom metal shield off of it, and So anyway, I stuck it in and I turned it, and the slug is all the way down hitting the circuit board already. So I turned it to where it goes back in, and the white lines started getting bigger, wider on the sides. So I went back the other way, and they were getting smaller, but then you bottom out and you can't go no more with the width coil. That's full adjustment in that direction. Now, if I had more adjustment, I believe I could get that out. So what I'm wondering is, can I change the high voltage poly caps on the board that have to do with the width? I know on some monitors you can. I know Bob Roberts used to have a little cap kit that had various different size caps in it where you could mix and match to try to change the width of the picture. And I have one of those kits around here somewhere, but heaven only knows where it's at. So if anybody has any info about that or has tried it, does it work? Anybody tried it on this monitor? But, you know, if not, I'm not going to worry too much about it because I can live with this. You know, so not a big deal. What I need to do next is to hook it up to a Nintendo board and see what it looks like with an actual game board hooked up. That'll tell the story. And then I'll be able to determine, you know, whether or not, yeah, this is going to be okay, or no, I need to do something else. But in the meantime, I'm satisfied. So just wanted to add that in. Okay, well, been a couple days, and I did a little more work to the monitor here. Just basically buttoning everything up. I went ahead and, of course, I've reversed the yoke wires, and I went ahead and connected the wires together properly and put heat shrink on them. Only thing I have left to do now is to put the other brace on, and then put the bracket that goes around the neck board that protects the neck, and the bottom plate that goes on the bottom. Because right now I don't see a need to put the cap kit in it, and this yoke seems to be working just fine, and so I'm going to leave it be. Now I know some people's going to be a little disappointed because they wanted to see me wind or attempt to wind the horizontal yoke, and I kind of wanted to try it myself. So maybe sometime in the future, maybe I'll revisit this when I do the cap kit. But really, you know, it's working. So why go to all the trouble? I guess curiosity maybe, but anyway. So let me show you what the picture looks like now. And when I first hooked this up, I was having a board issue. I had fixed the board, but the colors were off. The colors were inverted. I was using a Mike's classic Nintendo to Jammer adapter. That's what I'm using. But the picture was displaying on my JAMA cabinet as a negative, like it wasn't reversed. So it was driving me crazy. I didn't know whether, you know, the problem was on the board or the inverter was bad, even though it's a brand new inverter. So that was the reason for pulling the monitor in here, because this is a true Nintendo monitor. And sure enough, when I hooked it up directly to the monitor, all the colors are correct and the game looks great. Now, right after I hooked it up the other day, the first time, the board started glitching. I lost my high score up here, and I had blocks and everything. So I was just trying to do a little troubleshooting a minute ago, and changed out the 2114 RAMs and tried all kinds of stuff, and I wasn't really getting anywhere. I found an area of the board where seemed like it might have a problem, and it had to do with this ROM here at 5N. But right now, my ROM burning computer is still down, so I can't check it to see if that's the problem. That's one of the original ROMs that was in this board when I bought it. But that's for the other video. This is about the monitor. So anyway, the monitor has a beautiful picture. It's full screen. Looks good. I'm happy with it. So another shout out to Robert for sending me the Yoke. And he's a local collector. And I got in touch with him, and he told me that he thought this yoke came off of a television. So it's not an arcade yoke, but it seems to work fine. So thank you again, Robert. I appreciate it. Thanks to you, my Donkey Kong cocktail will be up and running again shortly. So that's going to conclude this little series. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, give it a big thumbs up. Go ahead and subscribe. I got plenty of content coming. And if you like this sort of thing, well, I hope you'll join me and share a little bit of experience while I gain some experience. And some of you might gain some experience from it. You might see how to do something. You might see how not to do something. Some of you might get a little chuckle out of my methods, but that's just the way I do it. So, and it usually gets me by most of the time. So thanks again, and this has just been another Arcade Fix. Have you had your arcade fix today?